Time for another review. I know I've been away for quite some time. I think my last review was a month ago. Been busy with work and some other stuff. But now, I have several figures that I've, I've acquired in the past months or so. But like I've said, but now we're gonna start off, fresh. And this is the new figure that I've got recently, General Zod. Finally completed my Man of Steel collection from Hot Toys. This is a final piece of the puzzle, and as always, we're gonna start off with the box. Yeah, I've always loved the artwork on these boxes, all the way back from Man of Steel to Jor-El. This is no different. I know I haven't, yeah, I've acquired Jor-El in the past month or so, but I know I haven't done a review yet. That's coming up. And as usual, they follow the same theme. It's not a shoebox style, well, kind of, but it has the magnetized side, which if you pop open, you'll see the plastic window, and different emblem for different characters, of course. And it does show you the cast and crew on the side, and it still follows the same pattern from the inside. Just like I said, different colors. For Jor-El, it's a different one. For Man of Steel, it's blue now because it's General Zod. It's black. Same theme, overall on the boxes. Mostly the scenic approach. Man of Steel, kind of like cloudy. With Zod, more of a chaotic. So you can see the spaceship flying in, and it's just an overall good theme. I love looking at these pictures. To be quite honest, if I have the space, I'm gonna display all the boxes. Unfortunately, I don't. But yep. And now we're going to the accessories, which we're not gonna talk a lot about because there's not a whole lot to talk about. These are just hands. Two pairs of hands. I mean, they're nice looking hands. Don't get me wrong. But on the end of the day, they're just hands. Nicely sculpted. The paint apps is terrific. It looks one of those knight armory kind of thing. I wish they were articulated. They look like articulated, but they're not. They're just plastic. And I think this is one of the figures where a die cast would have been beneficial. But at the same time, I'm happy with how the figure came out. Not complaining. And well, let's go back to the almighty hands. I'm not, I'm not quite sure what this hand's for. They're not gripping hands. Well, he doesn't need to grip anything. I was hoping that they give him a gripping hand so I can give Jor-El's gun to him, but I guess not. But you can see, it really looks like a rusty metallic old armor that he has there. Very organic. I love that. And it has a lot of details on him, considering for a hand. Then again, at the same time, that's all it comes with. And this is the instruction manual, which I probably would not open ever. I know what to do with them. I just just one glance, that kind of tells you how to insert the cape and the head. It's pretty basic. Nothing too complicated, unlike some of the figures that I recently had, like an Iron Man or something. You don't really need to open this one up. I mean, you have if you wanted to. I'm always looking out down the line if I wanted to sell this figure. I want to keep the accessories intact as possible. I honestly don't believe I'm gonna use the stand either, so I'm not even gonna take him out of the plastic. Well, I did for the sake of the review. The cape, it's pretty cool. It comes in its own plastic case, so to speak, kind of like the DX12. There we go. It's nice fabric that they use. It looks like felt or something like that. But be careful because I know once I opened it, it has some weird stuff that came out of my background. It's not cool because I gotta clean them up. So if you have some white background or something that you put your toys in, you just gotta be careful because they shed, kind of like a dog. This is the stand. Man of Steel General Zod. Same height, same size, same everything as Jor-El and Man of Steel. It's just like I said, different emblem, different look. This one's all black. Trying to signify he's a villain. Still nice display base. I wish it would. You know what? On this one though, he does fly, so I don't mind it as much as I do mind with Jor-El. Same pattern. pretty much the same overall. I wish I had a bigger space so I can display all of them at the same time. Maybe like like a big display case or something. Flying, they would benefit surely from that flying post. And as usual, the metallic rod which you can bend, basically the flight stand, or what we call the dynamic stand from Hot Toys. you know um this is the back part which you attach to it, which you've pretty much seen this before. There you go, nothing too special. You just insert that on the top of this thing. If you've seen my Man of Steel or my Coming Jor-El, I had to include this. So they open up. It has some for some of you who hasn't seen it yet, there's some foam, so you don't damage the figure, especially this one, because on Man of Steel you kind of get the body, but on this one you are gonna hit his armor. And I guess my most favorite accessory, if you want to call it one, is the helmet. I love this helmet. I'm probably gonna use this for the most part. You guys pretty much have seen the head sculpt of Zod. It's okay by Michael Shannon. I mean, it's honestly a lot better than I thought it would be. But this is just menacing. Just take a look at the details on this guy. This trunk, by the way, I'll show you further down the review as well. Is that you gotta put the thing inside his armor, kind of like the nose, so to speak. This looks like it reminds me of some I don't know, like a scene from a pilot or something like that. I don't know. For some reason, it just reminds me of something. But there's a lot of details on his head, on this, or if you will, a helmet. And I don't know, for some reason, I just like the look of it. It looks more, I don't know, black eyes and just. I guess it's a different look than what they did with the head sculpt with Michael Shannon. With Shannon, I think you can that's a lot more appropriate if you're planning to pose him in an action pose, because there's some anger on his face. But on this one, it's just cold-blooded stare, no emotions, black eyes. You don't know what's going on. You can actually use this if you're just gonna pose him in a museum pose. I think this is more appropriate. And honestly, look at that. Look at this grooves right here. The metallic look, fading. It's everything. The detail, the very fine details on the helmet is just great. All right, now I'm gonna transition now to. I do apologize in advance. This is kind of shaky. I don't know, for some reason when I was shooting this, it was fine, but from afar, I'm shooting this maybe because I used a 60mm camera on this one. This is supposed to be my macro, but I'm kind of lazy to switch lens. Maybe that's why. But yeah, I'm just trying to show you the overall, look. It's amazing. It's an amazing figure, up close or from afar. The details on his armor, that's my most selling point on this guy. Look at that. Look at this guy. He's so menacing. He's intense, just by sheer appearance. And look at that. That's the boot. It's separate, so there's a lot of articulation. Surprisingly, I thought he was gonna be like Iron Man, which is kind of delicate to hold, but it's two parts, so you can actually take out the armor if you wanted to. Well, at least some of it, but they're pretty much articulated. The knees, his foot is more articulated than most Hot Toys, because there's articulation on the front foot and on the back. The armor itself is plastic, but it only, I thought there was gonna be less movement because of this. It's gonna hinder some movement. It doesn't. Surprisingly, like I said, on his foot though, one thing that I didn't like, I like the fact that it's articulated. With how big this guy is, this guy can barely stand on his own. I mean, I guess with some tweaks and stuff, so you can have him stand on his own without the help of a Hot Toy stand. But he has a large feet. I mean, come on, man, just stand on your own. But I guess that's one of my few complaints. I mean, it's not like I have a lot, but look at this armor on his on his arm, and those are articulated as well on his elbows. I didn't have a chance to play with them when I was shooting this. I want to release the video as soon as I receive the figure. But so yeah, I didn't have a chance to play around with it. But look at the details on this armor. It's just great. I guess one of the reasons why they didn't make this die cast, it's gonna be way too heavy, I guess, because on inside his armor, it's an actual Hot Toys figure, just like Man of Steel. Whatever the fabric is on Man of Steel, it's the same fabric as they used for the inside of his armor. Only gripe, once again, the same as Jor-El, it does not come with the emblem inside of his chest. Yeah, it's funny, when I was shooting this video, I was trying to reserve the head, to do some headshots later on for the head sculpt. I forgot that I already shot them, moving forward, earlier to show the entire body. But nonetheless, it's look at this, the details on the side. I'm gonna focus it on more here, trying to move on the lights, so you can see I can even move around his arms and no problem whatsoever. Like I said, the good thing is, because the armor is separated from the body, and they made it in pieces, so you can pretty much move the arms however you wanted to. And we'll go down the leg. I guess I wouldn't say the tough part is if you want to not rotate, but move the legs front, like if he's kicking, because the armor from the leg is connected to the armor on his waist. I mean, I guess that's the only downside of that, but other than that, he's pretty mobile. You can move him around. The details on his I would say armband, or armor on his arms are amazing. You can see the shoulder pads, kind of like what they did with DX12. The difference is, you can still move it around and it actually stays up. On DX12 you kind of have to lift it up. It comes with I guess a garter. It comes back, but this one has some hinge on it that it stays up, and it's all over his armor. So some on his elbows, some on his ankles. So I haven't tried the knees yet, but there's a lot of articulation. You see, anytime that you see those circular thingies, the one on his back doesn't move, or I haven't tried it yet. Maybe it does. But the one on his shoulders, the one on his elbows, normally when you see those are joints, which a hinge that would go back and forth, so they're pretty much articulated. I turn him around so you can see the back part of his armor. See that, those little hinges, pretty amazing. Look at the paint apps. Look at the details. It looks like a real metal, even though it's not. That's the beauty of it. You have the metallic look, but you have the weight of a plastic, so it doesn't put too much stress on the figure itself. And everything's movable too. And I've seen some parts on eBay that they're selling, just the armor or just the body. So for customizers out there, you can easily get just the black suit Zod if needed be, because you can buy another one on eBay or buy a separate Zod and just mantle it. There you go, the ankle part. This is what pretty much draws me to the figure, is because initially I didn't have the intention of picking this up. I had this rule where I just want to pick up I would say main characters, plus his dad, so it's not like he's gonna show up in the next movie or anything. But I just can't resist the armor. I mean, the fine details, the craftsmanship, it's just amazing. It's like buying an Iron Man figure. I'm not really a big fan of Iron Man, but I mean, you gotta appreciate the work that they do with those guys. And now we'll take a look at the head sculpt. I've seen on forums they're saying it's a soft sculpt. I don't agree. In hand, it's a lot better than when you see it on forums and stuff. Maybe they put a filter on it. I don't know. You can see those eyes. We're gonna do some extreme close-up right here. Make our macro lens work. There you go. Look at those menacing eyes. He looks mean. He looks angry. I guess that's one of the reasons. I mean, initially I preferred him to have this just neutral look. It's kind of hard to I guess find a right pose for this menacing angry look. Look at the teeth. It looks like it's they put some gloss paint too, so it looks like it's wet. You can see some gray hairs on his beard. Pretty awesome details right there. The scar on his face, Look at that. And that is Michael Shannon right there. You know. I guess a little bit more wrinkles would work, but then again, at the same time, you know, you can see it now because I kind of minimized the light. It depends on the angle. You know, it's not a soft sculpt. If you hit it on a certain angle of the light, you know, look at that. It's pretty menacing. You know, he's mean. Like I said earlier, if you're gonna plan to pose him fighting with Man of Steel or anything, that would be the perfect head sculpt. And if you want to put him as a museum pose, then use the helmet. But you know, overall, I'm happy with this figure. Even the head sculpt. Look at that. That is Michael Shannon. Anyone who disagrees, maybe the hair is kind of funny. Maybe it could do a little work, but at the same time, you know, it doesn't really bother me. I'm a big fan of the head sculpt. What can I tell you? And but look at this guy. I mean, this is just awesome right here. I mean, as much as I love the head sculpt, I guess I'm gonna use this for the most part. His helmet, it just looks more intimidating to me. Look at that. It looks like the downside to this is because, like I said earlier, you gotta insert the I don't know, the nose part or something inside of his armor. I mean, it's on the instructions as well, but I guess the only downside is that you can't really move the head back and forth, or you know, you make him look left or right. I mean, you could, but really minimal. And look at that. Look at the details on this head. It's pretty amazing. It goes perfectly. I'm not sure if the neck is supposed to show some skin like that, but I mean, it's not like you have a choice or anything. I gotta watch the movie again, but you know, they could have inserted another neck piece, I would say. I don't know, because I had some problems. It's not a major one. It's not a life and death situation, but you'll see it later on where the neck part is kind of, I don't know, damaged, so to speak. I guess from the hair of Zod, the other head sculpt, when you move him around, so it's kind of damaged. I don't know in the long run if it's going to affect it so much. I mean, you can barely see his neck, but you know, still kind of bothers me because it's a $300 figure. You know, I showed you this one earlier where it go pops